those relationships that are most strengthened and feel deepest and most caring and loving are the ones where you feel seen. So let's see ourselves in this journey when we recognize, oh, I'm the self-saboteur. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I am your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be a great day. I had such a fabulous week last week. I was in Ireland on vacation. It was phenomenal. We had a great time. It's always so good to get away, to gain new perspective, to meet new people. Let me tell you, the Irish are so warm and friendly. It was just amazing how welcoming. Everywhere we went, the kids and Killian and I were laughing. Everywhere we went, what they would say to us is, you're all very welcome to, whether it be the airport or a grocery store or a pharmacy or the information kiosk or a castle. We'd always hear, you're all very welcome to the castle. It was so wonderful, feeling very welcome in that country. So thank you to all those incredible people who were hosting us over this past week. We had a wonderful time. And it was really interesting because during that week, I evidenced in my life something that I knew I needed to bring to you today, because I think this is a common story for so many of us. High achieving, fiercely independent men and women. And the question we're asking on today's episode is, does safety feel safe? And when can you recognize when in your own life, safety does not feel safe? I know it feels like an oxymoron. It feels like a ridiculous question. But I think that more of us experience this than we really recognize. Let me give you some examples. Have you ever been in a relationship that you've really hungered for? You've wanted to be with another man or a woman or a transgender person who makes you feel loved and protected and cared for. You can rely on them. You can trust their word. You feel really seen and appreciated and loved. And yet there's a part of you, once you're in that relationship, that feels like the excitement is missing. Ring a bell? I had a series of those kinds of relationships in my younger years where it was a very stable, predictable, loving. The other person was very supportive. And yet I kept telling myself I was missing the edge, missing the intrigue and the excitement. Okay, that's one example. Another one is perhaps in work or in your profession or your career, where you're finally, after years and years of really pushing, urging, burning the candle at both ends, making something work, maybe growing a business. This was true in my dental practice for sure, where we were working 7 days a week just to keep this thing alive, really efforting. And then once it sets into cruise control, it feels a little uncomfortable. Something needs to be happening. This feels uncomfortable. Safety does not feel safe. Maybe it's a job that you've been looking for and you finally found it and it really checks off all the boxes of everything you've wanted. And now you keep questioning, is this really what I want? Is this really what I've been looking for? Now, questioning is always a good thing, but my question to you today is, does safety feel safe? So this came up for me this past week on my vacation, and it's something that I'm very familiar with on vacations. We've talked about on the podcast before, but once again, it alerted itself to me, and that's such a great example, by the way, of how our personal development journey is never over. We keep uncovering new layers of the onion that we get to work on, and that definitely came alive for me this week. So leading up to the vacation, I did, as so many of you do, I am sure, I was on top of it. I lined up my podcasts to go live. I lined up my social media posts that were going to go live. I set my virtual assistant. I asked her to get everything on ahead of time. I pre-recorded some episodes. I had alerted my private one-on-one clients that we were going to see each other at different times because of the time change. I had arranged everything at the office at Embrace Orthodontics so that I wasn't going to be seeing patients. I had coverage for my patients and for the any emergencies that might arise. We even left 2 of our 3 children at home because they had some things in high school that they couldn't miss. So I'd even set up someone to stay with them. I had arranged for everything in anticipation of going to Ireland for this beautiful wedding on my husband's side of the family that we were going to. My daughter was in the wedding, so it was such a great opportunity to see family. It was a permission I had granted myself before we left. And I'd set up put all my emergencies on hold, given myself permission to take the time off, put all my ducks in a row so that everything would be taken care of in my absence. And on about day 4 or 5, my nervous system started jacking up. And what that looked like in real time was starting to fight with my husband, starting to find fault with my husband, starting to find irritations in things in the day that were perfectly understandable, starting to get annoyed at the Airbnb that Killian had chosen for us. And I literally got so worked up about this Airbnb that I actually said to him, I can't stay here anymore. We have to find a different place. Starting to put a little bit of guilt and blame on Killian. And I realized that this safety that I had created for myself didn't feel safe. I had set up a level of safety and stability in all places in my world. The kids were taken care of. My job was taken care of. My business was taken care of. My launching of my program is on cruise control right now. Everything is exactly how it should be. And my nervous system felt very uncomfortable. Does this sound relatable? And then what I started to do was what we so commonly call self-sabotage. I started to infuse a little bit of frenzy, a little bit of stress, a little bit of chaos, because as so many of us were practicing for decades of our lives, chaos feels like home. And even as we work towards understanding and feeling safe in calm, in rest and relaxation, on vacation, even then there will be layers of uncovering that needs to happen where chaos feels more familiar than calm and safety, where safety does not feel safe. Maybe you grew up in a household where there was no safety, where there was always chaos and drama and stress. And that was what your nervous system acclimated to. So that feels like home. That feels to your nervous system like status quo. Even if in a lifetime of living in chaos and stress, you realize, I can't live this way anymore. I can't survive on this level of stress and anxiety and overwhelm. I've just created it in every aspect of my life, and something needs to stop. Even when you have that realization, safety does not always feel safe. And we will then self-sabotage and introduce new stressors and new anxiety and new drama. Give me a hell yeah if you're listening and this is speaking to your story. And if you do feel like this speaks to your story, please recognize you are not alone. Your body is actually doing exactly what it should. It's just very used to functioning in a place of high stress and high anxiety. And that has become the norm. So the minute we feel a little bit of, calm and security and safety, our nervous system says, whoa, this feels super uncomfortable. Something bad is about to happen. Even if intellectually we can tell ourselves, Tarryn, nothing bad is about to happen. You've set everything up for yourself. You've put everything in place. You've put in backups for backups. And you've done so very, very cautiously and in good anticipation of all possible outcomes. Even then, we need a little bit of a reminder to our nervous system that everything is okay, that it is safe to be safe. And that, my friends, is the mantra I'm sharing with you today. So why do so many of us feel this way? I think that many of us in healthcare came from generations of extremely hardworking people, of people who really cared, of people who really were the hardest working people in the room. Maybe you came from an immigrant family where they had to really sacrifice enormously to be where they are. I know I did. Where being the hardest working person is expected. And, even celebrated those people in our families who never took a vacation for 30 years, or who never took a vacation, or who gave selflessly of themselves. And those people were really admired. And although that seems like such a great gift to the world and contribution, and so selfless, that martyrdom, it really tears us down. So in many of us, it's embedded in us from generations of hardworking, of on-fire sympathetic nervous system. And when I talk about the sympathetic nervous system in this episode, what I'm referring to is that fight or flight state that we talk about so often on this podcast. And I'm introducing a new F word to you today, and that is frenzy. Because that was true for me for decades, and I still can dip into it. Fight, flight, or frenzy. And that's what I did on this vacation. I started feeling unsafe in safety. Everything was going beautifully. There was no stress. There was no chaos. There was no fear that needed to be introduced. And yet I threw in a little bit of frenzy myself. Because that feels like homeostasis. That feels like home. And we know it when we're doing it. Sometimes we don't. We don't know. And we start to tell ourselves, it's my intuition that's telling me something feels off, or I just have this funny feeling. That funny feeling is often not a greater spiritual connection with something happening outside of us. It's just our nervous system saying, hey, this feels uncomfortable. I need to introduce a little bit of frenzy here because that's what I'm used to. I have this beautiful client who just articulated it so beautifully to me a couple weeks ago. He is a dentist as well. And he said to me, growing up, we realized that he was responsible for the financial situation of his family always, even as a high schooler, because he was always living in a state of fear that the collection agency might call, that he might have to apologize or front for his dad, that they might have to move because their house was being foreclosed on or because they didn't pay the rent again. So this instability was stability for him growing up. He was always walking in the door, not sure what he was going to find. Was there going to be a fight happening the minute he walked in the door, or were they going to be kicked out of their homes? And so what resulted for him was an addiction to work, an addiction to control, because he realized when he put his nose to the grindstone, he could really produce money and he could support his family. Well, he took that strength that really allowed him survival at a young age into his adulthood and was a fierce provider for his family in every sense of the word. But what it also meant was he could never take time off. Not really. I mean, he could take time off physically, but his body wasn't comfortable in that place. So every time he started introducing more and more control in the family, even when they were on vacation, because that was how he found his sense of stability and security. Sound familiar? If it does, once again, you are not alone. You're not alone. So what do we do? What do we do when we recognize, yeah, you know what? I'm really recognizing this addiction or this habituated pattern to fight, flight, or frenzy. And safety doesn't feel safe to me. Every time I find myself in a place where there's a little bit of calm and ease and safety, I jack it up and I introduce some new drama. Okay. First, awareness is everything. Awareness is everything. You know, so many of us walk around this world for entire lifetimes completely unaware of the patterns of behavior, of the patterns of thought, of the patterns that were embedded in us at a very young age, and then practiced by us on purpose because it was a survival skill. Many of us adopted these patterns because it literally saved our lives. It literally saved us from pain, from abandonment, from perhaps something unsafe. Maybe there is an unsafe person in our lives, but it literally in our bodies reads as saving our lives. So the second part is enormous compassion and gratitude even. So the minute I noticed that on vacation this week, when I started really pecking on Killian about the Airbnb he chose and how terrible it was and why he didn't read the reviews, I was aware, oh, wow, Tarryn, this is so out of alignment with your value system. This is so out of alignment with who you want to be. There is nothing wrong right now. You're on vacation. Everything is lined up. You are completely safe. You have permission to take a load off today. Okay, step 1 was awareness. Step 2, enormous compassion and understanding. What that sounds like is literal self-talk. Oh, I see you, Frenzy. I recognize you. Thank you so much for trying to keep me safe. Thank you for trying to anticipate if there's anything wrong here. Thank you for being on high alert. You have been trying to keep me from dying my whole life, and thank you for that. I see you, and I see that you're just trying to keep me alive here. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you didn't get into business to be miserable. The problem is that people feel that if their business gets busier, if they start becoming more successful, that happiness will eventually set in. But it can actually get worse. This is why I created the Business of Happiness Prosperity Coaching. In this one-on-one coaching, we look at how to redefine success on your terms and re-find the joy and the passion in your dream. Visit me at thebizofhappiness.com and become the happiest business owner you know. That second part is such an important part because in creating safety in our systems, we have to feel seen. Think about that in any relationship that you've ever been in. The ones where you feel most safe is the ones where you feel most seen. Whether it's a boss, whether it's a best friend, whether it's a lover or a parent, those relationships that are most strengthened and feel deepest and most caring and loving are the ones where you feel seen. So let's see ourselves in this journey when we recognize, oh, I'm the self-saboteur. I'm the one introducing frenzy. Please see yourself. Oh, Tarryn, I get it. I see. You're just used to this pattern of when things are going well, the other shoe drops, right? You're anticipating everything's going too well right now. What's the bad thing about to come around the corner? And there is no corner. But I recognize you're trying to keep me safe. Thank you. Step 3 is recognizing the truth. There is no shoe that's going to drop, my love. Nothing's going to fall apart. You're doing great. You're allowed to relax and enjoy this vacation. You're allowed to relax and let your husband organize the Airbnb and let go of some of that control. You're allowed to relax and take a deep breath and just enjoy the scenery. So the third step is giving ourselves back that permission for safety. And then even though that language and self-talk is so critical and so important, and I mean out loud, I don't even do this in my head. I used to do it just on paper, but now I recognize, I need to take a walk and talk to myself out loud. I need to hear my own voice telling me I'm safe and I have permission to just appreciate and live in calm and ease on this day. Okay? And then the fourth thing is embedding it in your nervous system. So nothing changes if we don't address it from the way it was embedded in us in the first place. When we were younger, and that sense of frenzy, of chaos, of a need for control was embedded in our bodies, it was done so in a very physical way. It was done so at a point where your heart was racing, your stomach was in your throat. Maybe you were actually physically in danger, so your body's habitus was different. Maybe you were trying to protect yourself from somebody who was about to hurt you. But it was a very physical feeling. If you take yourself back to a moment in time in your youth where you didn't feel safe, your body's going to feel it. It's going to recognize and recall those emotions, a physical feeling of it. Well, then in order to address it again, we have to speak to that physicality. We have to speak to the physical place in ourselves, where we're holding that old belief that safety isn't safe. And we have to reprogram that in our nervous system. I'm going to teach you today one way to do that. And it's going to be using those 3 steps: awareness, compassion and understanding and gratitude, feeling seen, and then permission. Permission to feel safe in safety. And the technique we're going to use today that I'm going to talk to you about is one we've talked about on the podcast before. It's emotional freedom tapping. It's my favorite way on the fly if I don't have my coach to support me, which, by the way, is another excellent way to work through this, is to work with your coach. But if I don't have my coach with me and I don't have access to her, I go straight to EFT tapping, because I know that I can embed the new belief system, the new reality, the new truth, the new permission for safety when I use this process. So the way EFT tapping looks is there's a very prescribed way to do it. And so I invite you to look it up on YouTube. There's some excellent resources out there. I am not an EFT expert. I am not a practitioner or a certified practitioner of EFT tapping, but I do use it and massage it a little bit, the technique, to make it work for me and my clients. And so the way that I use it is I use certain meridians because they're quicker and faster, and they don't take a lot of thought process when you're still learning EFT tapping. EFT tapping can be quite complicated. So I really break it down and simplify it. And so the meridians that I focus on the top of my head. So if you literally take your 3 fingers on your dominant hand and you tap on the crown, the very top of your head, just tap, 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 just about that pace. And I do the top of my head. And then when I say so, you're going to switch to right under your eye, right on your zygomatic arch for all of my dental friends out there, right under that bone right under your eye. And then I do on my chin. That's another tapping point. Tap, 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 tap. My collarbone, I tap on my collarbone, and then I do what's called the karate chop. And the karate chop is where you tap on the outside portion of your hand, on that meaty part below your little finger. Okay. And I tap on the opposite hand with my dominant hand, I tap on there. And, if I'm in a public space and I don't want anyone to see me tapping, if I'm having an anxiety attack, or if I'm finding I need to speak to myself and embed a new understanding and a new belief immediately, or even in front of patients, if I'm trying to stay calm, I might just do the karate chop. So it's called karate chop because that's the part of your hand. If you imagine doing a karate chop on wood, that part of your hand that would engage the wood, that's the part that I tap on, okay? And so even just that is enough for me sometimes, or just the collarbones is enough. But what we're going to practice today is top of head, under eye, chin, collarbone, and then karate chop, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Let's start with just taking a nice deep breath and calming our nervous system. Start by just embedding a little bit of relaxation in this practice. So if you will, and if it feels comfortable, just close your eyes or hood your eyes or look down to the ground and take in a nice deep breath into your belly and hold it at the top for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. Fully exhale, emptying all the air out of your belly. Take another nice deep breath in through your nose. Fill it up, fill it up, fill it up, and hold it at the top there. Just feel that nice feeling of being completely filled, and then fully exhale. Very good. I'm going to ask you to do it one more time. And on this inhale, just breathe it in, breathe it in, breathe it in. Full, 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 all the way to the top. Hold it there for me. And on this exhale, as you exhale, I want you to feel your shoulders physically lowering and your body relaxing. Fully exhale. And just return to a nice, comfortable breathing pattern. Your eyes can be open or closed, either one. And I want you to start with this tapping pattern on the top of your head. Just a slow, persistent, like a metronome, tap, 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 tap. And even at your own pace is fine. Right on the very top of your head, right on the crown of your head with your dominant hand. And as we go, what you're actually going to do is speak this out loud. And so you can follow me. You can save this podcast for later and use it with your own words if something has come up for you. Flag this podcast for any time you need to practice this. And then if you do it frequently enough, I promise you'll be able to come up with the words on your own. But we're going to do it with the intention of following those 3 steps: awareness, compassion, and then embedding the new permission. So we start with awareness, and we follow from the tapping all of those meridians. We're going to start with awareness. So awareness is simply, Tarryn, I feel your anxiety. You're in frenzy. Then we switch to right under the eye. I can feel your heart rate racing. I can see that safety doesn't feel safe. Now we're going to the chin. I hear, I feel, I see that you're feeling uncomfortable in this place, that you're feeling like something might be wrong. Now let's go to our collarbone. I can feel it in your body. I can feel that everything feels on fire right now and something feels off. Now the karate chop. I'm fully aware that something is out of place and the safety does not feel safe. All right, what we've done is we've just absolutely recognized and acknowledged our feelings and made it real. Now we're going to give compassion. So let's go straight to the top of the head, tapping again. I completely understand. Anyone in this situation would feel the same way. Now under the eye. Thank you, Frenzy, for looking after me. Thank you for checking in with me to make sure that I'm safe. Let's go under on the chin. I know that you just want to keep me safe and protected, and I thank you. I thank you for being there. Now let's go to the collarbone. But I've got control right now. I know that we're safe. We're in a place where there's nothing chasing us. There is no fear. There is no threat. Now do the karate chop. It is okay to just be here. Thank you for being here, but I'm going to take the wheel. Now we're going to embed permission. Let's go to the top of the head. It is safe to feel safe. It is safe to feel safe. It is safe to feel safe. You can repeat this as many times as you need to. And please, if the tears start to flow, just keep saying it over and over. The more we tap, the more we remind ourselves it is safe to feel safe. The more we embed that belief in our nervous system. And if you're crying, just recognize it's okay. It's just the emotions releasing from your body. Now let's go under the eye. It is safe to feel safe. It is safe to take a break. It is safe to stop doing. Let's go under the chin. It is safe to take a break. It is safe to take a deep breath. It is safe to be safe. Now let's go to the collarbone. I have got you. You are safe. Everything around you is safe, and it is safe to feel safe. And now karate chop. It is safe to be safe. It is safe to relax. It is safe to stand in ease. It is safe to be calm. It is safe to enjoy this moment. It is safe to be safe. And let's repeat it again, starting at the top of the head. The embedding process is so important, and this takes sometimes a few rounds of tapping. It is safe to be safe. I have got you. You are safe. It is safe to be safe. Take a deep breath and let's go under the eye. It is safe to rest. It is safe to breathe. It is safe to take in this beautiful environment. Now let's go to the chin. It is safe to stay in calm. It is safe to live with ease. It is safe to be safe. Let's go to the collarbone. You are safe. In this moment, you are safe. In this moment, you are safe. And now to the karate chop. It is safe to be safe. How do you feel? This is a very down and dirty, easy way to put your body back into a state of calm. When you know there is nothing that you should be in a state of arousal about. When you need to remind your body that you are safe and that it is safe to be safe. And there is no need to introduce new frenzy. You know, I've been doing this personal development work for 11 years now. Dedicated daily practice, dedicated daily research, dedicated daily intention of personal development, of healing my own wounds, of growing and ascending beyond them so that I can serve the people in my life. And yet this story happened to me this last week. So please recognize that if you have been doing this too, and there keeps coming up new wounds or new opportunities to practice safety, it's okay. You're normal. You are absolutely normal, and your body is doing everything it should. Your brain is doing everything it should. Your mind is doing everything it should. Your autonomic nervous system is doing everything it should. We just sometimes need to take the reins and remind ourselves of our safety, that we do not have a tiger chasing us anymore, but that we're actually allowed to enjoy and rest and feel calm and ease. And that from that place we can find success. Because success does not bring happiness. It just doesn't, my friends. It's this constant practice of happiness, of calm, of safety within our own bodies. That's how we realize greater success. Because we can't be our best selves if we don't take a break, if we don't refuel. And if our bodies and our nervous systems don't allow us that, how do we ever find it? You are doing amazing things. Let me just honor you. First of all, for returning to this podcast week after week, for investing in yourself, for caring enough about your own happiness, recognizing the value of your own happiness in your ability to do the work that we're sent here to do the work that you feel so passionately about, to serve your patients and your team and your family. I honor you from the depths of my heart. This is the most important work we will ever do, and you are not alone. You're not. I'm on this journey too. We are forever a work in progress and a miraculous masterpiece all at once. As we close up this podcast today, I just want to remind you of this really awesome meditation practice, guided meditation that I created especially for you. It lives on my website, but you can also get it by texting to 207-600-2699, the word mindfulness. So what you do is you take out your phone, go to your texting. Trust me, I needed these directions, okay? So you go to your texting app and you put in the new phone number. You start with a phone number because my name won't come up there for you. And the number is 207, that's the main area code, 600-2699. So 207-600-2699. And then in the body, in what you're going to send me a text, you write the word mindfulness and you hit send. I'm sorry, mindful, not mindfulness, mindful. Keep it simple. MINDFUL. And when you send that text, you'll receive the meditation. One of the things that really helps with this awareness piece, that very first step in what we were talking about in combating fight, flight, or frenzy, in combating not feeling safe in safety, is the awareness piece. And to build your awareness muscle, meditation is everything. It's like exercise in the morning, building muscle. And like anything else, it takes practice. And so I created this meditation for leaders of their teams, leaders in their profession, healthcare leaders of their families, or just leaders of their own dreams. And it's called Abundance. And it's a great 15-minute meditation. It's guided for a majority of it, but there are several minutes in there that allow you to start practicing meditation without the guided aspect. See, guided meditation only gets us so far. So if you text the word mindful to 207-600-2699, you'll get a copy of this free meditation. Please use it. Please enjoy it. Please pass it around. This is for my gift to you to start practicing that awareness muscle. And when you can do that, when you start giving yourself that daily practice, you'll start finding other meditations that you really enjoy. It really allows us to be more aware of where our mindset is, where our body is, and connection with our body. There's a big part of the meditation that guides you through connecting to your body. When so many of us feel literally like talking heads, walking around without any knowledge of our bodies. So that's really the intention of the meditation, is a mind-body connection to start building that muscle of awareness. And that's my gift to you. So go ahead, let's download that app. The weekend is a great time to get started. I practice meditation every single day of my life. I never miss a day. It is my bread and butter of my happiness practice. And I give this mindfulness meditation of abundance to you. And remember, when you feel good, that's when you can do good. Bye-bye.